But her and her friends are like, Dad, you always have these hotties for girlfriends.
Yeah.
Wow. So
how does it make you feel to go out in public with a 22-year-old girl? Do you have a problem with it?
No.
I don't either.
None whatsoever. Zero. I
love it.
I was in a relationship with 2 girls at one point, and we went and met a good friend of mine down in Santa Monica for a weekend. And I mean, I blew his mind when I showed up with the 2 of them. And, one was 23, one was 22, draped off of my arms, and blonde hair was one, brunette was the other.
Sounds like Dr. Charles, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. Dr. Charles reincarnated.
And I loved it. I mean, we had such a great time. I even have a souvenir from it.
Which is what?
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good, the bad, and Lily,
the scandalous,
the always shocking stories of sugar dating. And Lily's been doing a lot of sugar dating.
I have not had a free night since...
You're having a lot of fun, though.
Last Saturday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're getting amazing meals, some interesting experiences.
Yeah. I'm living large.
You're going to go see Drunken Shakespeare?
Yeah, Drunk Shakespeare.
When is that? Tomorrow?
That's
or tonight? Yeah, you'll have to let us know how that is.
Yeah, so the premise is one of the actors, and it's a roll of the dice who the actor's going to be. They don't even know, I don't think, prior to the show. But one of them draws the short straw, and they have to take 5 shots
oh dear
of liquor and then perform their role in a Shakespeare play.
Yeah, I read that the other actors try to keep them on script as best they can.
Yeah, the drunk guy.
Sounds fun. So these are some really cool dates that your sugar daddies are planning for you.
Mm-hmm. Last week I went to Medieval Times.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
You got to eat chicken with your hands and things like that. Yeah, I've been to that one a couple times.
Super cool. Those horses are beautiful and so talented.
And then where are you going this Saturday?
This Saturday, I'm going to the George Strait Chris Stapleton concert.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Actually, I'm taking my sugar baby, and actually I'm taking Amy, one of our the original hosts of the show. She doesn't like crowded places or concerts much or anything like that, but she loves George Strait.
Loves him.
So I'm paying for her ticket to go see, and she's agreed to go to get out of her comfort zone.
Yeah.
And to be in a big crowd. So, and then you're going with a sugar daddy.
Right.
And then your friend.
One of my good friends.
And your sugar daddy is paying for her ticket too.
Yep, because she couldn't afford it. So he bought both of our tickets.
And I'll tell you what, these we talk a lot about that Taylor Swift concert being so crowded and so expensive. This concert is even more crowded and more expensive than Taylor
George
Swift.
Strait. You gotta love him.
He's only doing 6 shows. He's doing 6 stadium shows this summer, and that's it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun.
And then Friday, I'm going to the Diamondbacks game.
Well, look at you.
Yeah.
Just having all kinds of fun sugar day. You've been doing it now for a year and a half.
Yeah.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, that's a little bit of what's going on in Lily's life, but I don't want to take up too much time because I received a couple letters from a sugar daddy or a gentleman. And I actually read one I think it was on my Extra Sugar. And he has been in contact with us, says he has some experience and some crazy stories. And he flew all the way down to Scottsdale, Arizona to be here in person, which actually we like that. We'll do it Zoom, we'll do it through the phone, but in person is going to be so much better.
The quality is just so much better, the sound.
So welcome, Christian. How are you?
Hey, Marcus. Hey, Lily. How are you guys?
Great.
So good.
It's a beautiful day today.
I was expecting a different kind of hot here. It's actually pretty comfortable today.
Today is amazing. I know I'm not to divulge exactly where you're from, but you are in a rainy climate.
Indeed it is, although it's been kind of nice the last few days, and I have an old school Mustang that I pulled out of storage. And
very good.
Yes, having an old school Mustang is a labor of love, I will tell you that for sure.
What year is it?
It's actually a 93.
Oh,
it's a Fox body. I wanted one when I was in high school, and then finally 10 years later I was able to afford one, and I've just been keeping it up ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, well, so to get our listeners caught up with you and kind of how you got to this point. What is your background? You were married with kids?
Yeah, I was married with kids, been divorced. Geez, I was married for over a decade. And yeah, during that time, my marriage was, even my ex-wife would agree we probably should have gotten divorced a decade before we did.
Yeah.
But, I always knew what I was looking for. I was looking for companionship, intimacy, etc. And I didn't know what it was called. I knew what I was looking for by description, but not by name.
Right.
And I remember one time I was sitting on an airplane reading an in-flight magazine, and I'm reading a story about this woman who's talking about all these wealthy gentlemen, and she's very exclusive. And I'm like, yeah, I could see this. And then she just spells out seeking arrangement right there. I was like, there's a website.
Okay, someone else, one of our other guests said the same thing, that that's exactly the same way he even found out that Seeking existed.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, well, the site has changed dramatically since then.
Oh, it sure has.
But, I jumped off the plane, I looked it up, and I was just jaw dropped.
Okay, so how long have you been divorced?
About a year and a half now.
Really?
Yeah, it was official about a year and a half.
Oh, okay. So when did you start dating again?
Well, believe it or not, during my marriage, I was involved in sugaring. My ex and I, we hadn't had sex a year and a half before we actually got divorced. And
yeah,
I'm just not living like that.
Right.
So, but yeah, actually during the divorce, I had a sugar girl who actually became my girlfriend.
While you were married?
No, while I was during the divorce.
During the divorce.
Yeah,
during the
during the
proceedings.
divorce.
Now,
Yep.
how old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay. Looks amazing, right?
Yeah, he's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
Thanks. Always like to shout out.
Your profile pictures are excellent, and you look exactly the same as your pictures on your profile.
We have his profile pulled up, and he did say in there, I'm not catfishing. This is really me, and this is really what I look like.
Yes. Yeah. And one of the first things I do in my profiles, I say, look, the intention of my profile is to not mislead anyone.
Yeah.
I want someone who's interested in me for exactly who I am. And I'm okay if people self-select out. That's okay with me.
Well, I love your profile because you are very to the point, cut and dried. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm not looking for.
Mhm.
These are my deal breakers.
Mhm.
I love it because then is this something I would even
Yeah, you've gone through a
wanna
lot of profiles.
pursue,
Now,
or-
he did throw in a little Polish in here. You noticed that?
Yeah.
I did. I'm actually self-taught in Polish, officially certified even.
Yeah.
And
what made you do that?
Because we were looking at it going, what are we supposed to do with this
I had to
information?
Google Translate. I'm like, copy, paste, Google Translate.
Yeah. So basically, my ex-wife was Polish, and
Oh.
that's where it all started. I'm trying to impress her and, learn this word and that word. But I've always been bilingual. I grew up in a bilingual household. And so for me, languages are natural. And so as I started to learn a little and speak a little, people got really encouraging, and I'd learn more and speak more. And then finally it took off on its own. And yeah, this past year I got officially certified.
Nice. How many languages do you speak?
2 really well, a 3rd pretty good.
Okay.
So you putting this in your profile, does it get comments on it?
The Polish language.
Yeah.
I have had some Polish women reach out to me,
Yeah.
but not as many as I would have expected. I honestly,
Just curious.
yeah,
It's just all the Venezuelans and the Colombians, right?
Oh my God, you too, huh?
it's literally,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what I say. I say, here's my radius, and they're still
Yeah.
reaching out.
Yeah.
And most of them are just trying to sell pictures and videos. And I'm
Right.
like, I don't pay for pictures
Yeah.
and videos.
I get the same frustration because I'm very specific in what I'm looking for in my profile. And it does not matter if you say, if you're under 40, you're probably not for me. If you're out of state, you're probably not for me. They still just try.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a
They
lot
shoot
of people,
their shot.
as I've heard too many times.
Well, there's some people who actually do respond. Like Sean, remember Sean,
Oh, yeah.
Kevin's friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually sent money to somebody in like Colombia or somewhere like that. And
Oh,
remember they sent him a
yeah.
t-shirt?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was for a business.
He was starting
Oh,
a
I
t-shirt
remember this.
business. Yeah.
So it works on a few people.
Oh, I've heard a lot of bleeding heart stories
Yeah.
where guys got scammed.
Oh, I had a scam attempt just in the last week and a half or two even. And, it's just, Like, hey, I hate to do this. And I really promise it was never going to be like this. But, my mother's in the hospital and she needs some money. I'm having difficulty scraping together. Can I get $3,000 from you?
$3,000.
Bye.
Somebody you'd never met?
Oh,
it was
never.
Completely online?
Completely online.
Yeah, that's a large number to ask for somebody that you've never met.
It's everything in between.
Oh, yeah.
I've had women that are very obviously desperate, though, ask me for gas money.
Yeah, I get that a lot too.
Yeah, I'm just like, no. My policy is you don't get a penny until we have an arrangement, and that's it.
Well, I mean, if $50 or $100 is sent to them by 8 or 10 guys a day, it's not a bad living.
I'll tell you what. I think there's a series of women that their game is to charge for meet and greets with no intention ever of following through. I mean, if you're getting 200 or 100 or 300 and you do that 5, 6, 7 times in a month, that's okay coin.
Yeah. No, I've run into those too. Like they did ask for something for the meet and greet and they were very beautiful. I remember particularly this one girl. And so I met her and I could tell she had no intention of going on a second date with me. She just was there for the $200 for the meet and greet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very obvious.
I don't do that anymore. If I know the person's coming from a ways away, or I believe they really do need a babysitter, maybe I'll throw them some money when they get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I'm trying to be stingy. I think a lot of people confuse generous with stupid.
Yeah.
And
well, you have generous in your name.
Yes.
So probably get hit up a little bit more than average.
Yeah. I've actually had that read and reread a few times and reviewed. So that's a few iterations there.
Now, you're a Diamond member, I see.
I am.
Have you always been that way or you upgraded?
I've done it a few times. The last few times I've done it, I mean, I've recently really tried to ask myself if indeed it's worth it or not. I can't tell.
You can't tell.
According to the Reddit forums, they're like, no, save your money.
Well, I've never become a Diamond member because I have literally I have a profile on Seeking, but I'm not active.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 96 messages.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, why do I need more messages? Maybe the quality of women? I don't know.
I don't know. I think if and when the next go around comes, I won't do that. But I have a new baby and that girl is such a sweetheart. Oh my God. She takes such good care of me.
Is somebody you recently met?
Yeah, we met about a month ago.
How old is she?
26.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the same age as mine.
Yeah. Cute little Filipina,
Really?
long hair. And she is so well put together. The number of women who show up to these meets with, I don't know, muddy hiking shoes or an athleisure. I'm like, honest to God, step up your game, please.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back to before you got divorced, you started sugar dating.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you found the article?
Yeah.
And you went home and you went, oh my God, I'm going to try this.
Absolutely.
And then you started getting responses, I imagine immediately like I did as soon as I put my profile.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It happened pretty quick. I really just didn't know what I was doing, what the protocol was, like, how do you talk about this stuff? Frankly, I was nervous and I don't strike anyone as a nervous guy, but this particular sort of thing, I was like, I don't even know what to do.
So what were some of the mistakes that you found yourself making in the beginning?
Well, I got scammed in the beginning.
All right, tell us about that. Because we all do if you're on there long enough.
We met and it was my first time. We did a paper meet and then she was like, hey, I really need money for rent and can you help me out?
And there is a reason why they're on there.
Of course.
So that could be true.
And in fact, the ones where they tell me they're on there and they basically don't need money, that is more red flags than a communist parade.
They're for sure a scammer.
That's what the girl who got me for $5,000 told me.
Exactly I've listened to that, buddy. My heart goes out to you.
Yeah, well.
So she hit me up for, some rent money and I thought, all right, I was already with her. We were intimate. It was fun. So I gave her the money and then I was expecting follow-up and she just vanished like a puff of smoke.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn it.
How much did you give her?
$800.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, not that much.
No, it still stings though.
Oh yeah, because you feel like an idiot.
Yeah, you absolutely feel like an idiot.
So
like
you met her on the site.
Yep.
And you'd been intimate multiple times or?
Just the one time.
Oh, just the one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so.
It was all new to me, right? So I'm like, how we what's the expectation?
So she didn't ask for PPM or allowance or anything?
We had negotiated it beforehand.
Okay.
And like I said, this is my first time. This was 10 years ago, maybe, when things were absolutely completely different.
Yeah. So did you give her the PPM plus the $800 for her rent?
The 800 came after, but yes.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, she did get you.
She
then.
scammed you.
Yeah. Well,
A little bit.
Here's what I think. Probably it wasn't in her game plan to scam me. She just went, oh shit, that was easy.
Yeah.
Maybe. But now there are real scams, like coordinated, thought through gameplays.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so that was some of your mistakes on the meet and greet. What were you expecting on the meet? Would you take them out for just meet them like for a drink or coffee, or did you do a full blown date?
It has gone from one end of the spectrum to the other and back.
Yeah. What do you prefer?
Drink or coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, I've taken women out on a meet and greet, fantastic steak restaurants, wine. I mean, $500 dinner bills, and nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I've gone out for nothing but drinks and apps, and I meet wonderful women and we have an arrangement. So from what I can tell, going all in doesn't really seem to make a big difference. And frankly, as you see, Lily, you get busy. I mean, I'm like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, my calendar is busy when I'm in the zone.
Mhm.
And if you're dropping $300-400 a meal, yeah, that's the difference between generous and stupid at that point.
Right. So what did you do to gain your wealth?
I started working for Amazon back in 2007,
Okay.
back when, I don't know if you know, their stock split 20-1 last year. So
Wow.
basically that's when their stock was an equivalent of $3 a share.
Yeah.
So that's where a bunch of it came from. Now I'm a tech guy, have my own tech consultancy.
Good.
And COVID's been great to me. Then, of course, I have some rental properties as well, too. Yeah, it's, trickle here, a little there.
You're diversified.
Well, you have to, especially
Right.
in the tech world.
Yeah.
The business comes and goes really, really
So
fast.
why was COVID good for you?
Because suddenly there was a lot more demand for talent. There was a lot more clientele. I was no longer limited to just working in my region. I could pluck up work from anywhere in the US.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really boomed fast.
Nice.
And I could cut out all the middlemen too.
Okay, back to meet and greets just for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I would just want to know what's the most unusual meet and greet you two have ever had. Because I thought my let's go on a 3-mile hike meet and greet was definitely my most unique and strangest meet and greet. But I'm going on a meet and greet tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
At a public library at not 10 a.m., not 10:30 a.m., 10:15.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be there. And you know what? I will be there because I've got to see what this is all about.
Oh, I have to respect women who just like show up on time and they're punctual and reliable. You would be shocked how rare that actually is.
Yeah. So what some crazy meet and greets where obviously we've all had them where they showed up and you went, oh, this is not really what I was expecting.
Oh, God. Well, during COVID, I went on a meet and greet when almost everything was closed. We met at a Starbucks and that was all there was.
You sat in the parking lot?
Nope. We actually walked around with umbrellas in the rain.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I did the Starbucks sit in the car,
Yeah.
have a drink in my car meet and greet.
Yeah, I've done that.
During COVID.
I met a woman, we were sitting there waiting for dinner and, we're waiting for our turn. And I look over at her and I see like this bulge on the side of her coat. And I'm like, tongue in cheek, are you packing heat? She's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Can you see it? Let me go to the bathroom. I'll put it in my purse. I was fucking kidding, but here she is. She was actually packing heat.
You can't be too careful now.
And I'm thinking, we're in a restaurant. We're in broad daylight. Okay, sure. There was another woman who, I met her at a casino. We were chatting. We had some drinks, but it's very common. Women share their location with friends and they share my photo and that's all fine too. But this one apparently had a wing woman wandering around the casino, to make sure everything. I was like, so
eyeballing you?
Yeah. I'm like, so there's 100 security guards, 2,000 cameras. And you thought, you know what? I need my girlfriend to back me up too.
You know what though? It is kind of scarier for the women. On my
I get that.
3-mile walk, I was walking in yoga pants. I took my mace in my pocket of my yoga pants.
Well, yeah. And then she shared her location with me
Yeah.
because she's like, hey, this is really weird. I don't know anything about this guy, but I'm going over there and we're walking to the restaurant, 3-mile walk to the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then he lived in an area where there was no phone signal. So her location just disappeared.
Oh,
So I
shit.
couldn't
And then
even
you're
follow
like,
her.
Yeah.
And then you're like, let me get in the car.
Yeah, he even tried to call me and it didn't come through because I had
Wow.
no service there.
You know what?
But I had my mace.
I will agree. For the women, this is definitely a dicier proposition. You know, I've met some women, one of the babies I was with for a while, when we were first meeting, we were talking about stories. You know, she told me about one time she was sexually assaulted. And I'm like,
we've heard that a couple of times.
and I hate hearing that. I hate hearing that because then it gives decent guys like me a bad name.
Right.
And, you know, and you understand. You're like, I understand. And then you're like, those fucking assholes, right? You don't want that to happen. And so as a guy, you're always fighting this uphill battle and you have to be understanding and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So how many girls do you think you've met since you started sugar dating?
Met or
just,
been with?
Just met, and then how many have actually turned into something?
Met.
Yeah. My number's really high.
I'm sure you have a podcast.
My number's really high too. Of just meet and greets.
Actually, before the podcast, it was high.
I would say north of 100.
Okay, yeah.
North of 100. When I'm active and I'm meeting people, I mean, I'm going on 1 to 2 meet and greets per day.
Wow.
Pretty much nonstop.
No, he's outdoing me. Like, I've met more, but he's on pace to shatter my my number.
I'm very intentional.
Yeah.
I mean, my photos are professional. I spent money. I was like, no, I want these to look great. You know, I've had my profile reviewed repeatedly.
Who's reviewing it?
Reddit forums, rinse and repeat on it. I mean, I take what these people say with a grain of salt. Some people are haters. It's like, fine. Yeah. And actually, one of my previous girls that I actually had a platonic relationship with, she and I couldn't come to terms, but we decided on just keeping it platonic. I asked her, I said, hey, you know, can you send me my member link? Because, you know, you don't get access to your own. And she did. And so that's why I was able to send it to you guys. You could just jump straight there.
I was wondering about that.
Guy, I know what's up. I know the games they play.
So in your profile, there's a couple things that stood out, but one of them is that you said, let me pull it up here. Oh, here's one. I love the different shots of your profile and you're holding a cute little Bichon. But then again, down here, you're like, yeah, if you have a furry friend, we're probably not going to work out because you're allergic.
Yeah.
But the girls love the animal photos.
So it's actually both. Reading closely, I'm allergic to cats and most dogs.
Most dogs, yeah.
Right. So I have a Bichon. My daughter begged me for years for that dog and begged and begged and begged and begged.
They're
I
so
finally
cute.
came.
Those are adorable dogs.
I'll tell you what, my dog is such a lover. She just likes to sit and cuddle. And yeah, I won't lie. It's a lady magnet.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just there was a little bit of conflicting info here because here you have a dog, but then you're like, if you have a dog, it's probably not going to work out.
That was brought up in a Reddit discussion, and I said, okay, I'll clarify this, you know.
Yeah, and you sure did. That's fine. Our boy Kevin has a chick magnet puppy.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does. She's real cute.
So the other thing, it says that you're a romantic at heart. What are you actually looking for? Are you looking for just somebody to enjoy life with you and have good experiences, or are you actually hoping to find your person, as Lily would say?
I would say I would love to see number 2, but number 1 is what I'm looking for. So, you know, I want someone to enjoy life with me and enjoy the things we can do and take good care of me. But at the same time, I know from past experiences, some of my sugar girls, it has turned very personal, very deep, very emotional. And, you know, my European sugar girl, when I lived in Europe, I mean, that woman was head over heels in love with me.
So you were on Seeking in Europe?
Actually, I met her through Tinder.
You met her through. Oh, so you are on other sites.
I was, but Tinder in the US is trash. Tinder in Europe is a different experience entirely. Yeah, Seeking over there's like not really in use. I mean, I've tried and there's like, you know, 3 profiles for a 100-mile radius.
Wow.
That's very strange. What part of Europe were you in?
Poland.
We are like one of the top podcasts in Poland. Actually, we were number 1 in the sexuality division, and I get messages from Polish girls all the time.
Serious?
On Seeking, yeah.
Send them my way.
Our numbers in Europe are huge.
So what is it you like about Polish women?
Well, I was living there. I speak Polish. And so I got to tell you, I have an accent in Polish, which is no surprise. But because I grew up bilingual, my accent throws them all off.
Yeah.
So I have one, but they never know where from.
They can't put it as a U.S. accent.
They can't place it, and it is an absolute irresistible aphrodisiac for them. I mean, when I was there, I'm working at the WeWork, hanging out, and I remember this one day, there's this 6 foot tall, long brunette. She and I were friends, and we're chatting, and I'm sitting there chatting it up with the guys one morning over breakfast, and she just saunters in and looks at me, gives me a kiss, and says good morning to me in Polish. And I was like, that's right, boys. I'm 100 foot tall.
Nice.
Yeah. Nobody speaks Polish if they're not Polish.
Yeah.
And so then there's me, and they're just like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
Are you a one at a time kind of guy, or do you like juggling?
I am one at a time kind of guy. I don't have the time, and I don't have the emotional capacity, and I am looking for a deep emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into one night stands. I'm not into paper meets per se. If a woman approaches me and within the first message or two, she's slinging her phone number to me, I already know what that's all about, right? And so I don't follow through with those. I'm not comfortable with having random people I never met over to my place, or it's not my thing, not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Now, do you have a type? You said your current sugar baby is Filipina.
Filipina. I have a type, but it's not a type from an ethnicity standpoint. I've been with Black women, Latinas, obviously Filipina, Colombian, Russian, Polish. So no, my youngest was 22. My oldest was 36. So no, it runs the gamut, but my type is I'm really more for the meek, demure, submissive type.
Okay.
I really look for one that really takes good care of me. And we kind of gravitate towards each other in this regard. The new one, she just can't do enough for me. She loves it. And
how often do you see her a week?
2 to 3 times a week, as my personal arrangement allows and my personal life allows.
Okay. And are you planning dates? Are these full-blown dates and stuff?
Where possible.
Just come hang out? No,
where possible. I definitely like to do dates, go see jazz concert.
Yeah.
Go on walks. I'm a big foodie. So, I'd like to check out new restaurants, etc. I do like my wine bars. I'm a cigar and whiskey kind of a guy. So I do like to meet up with friends, etc., etc. So I'm quite social, whatever I can figure out. And I'll actually have them do some of the planning too. My Polish sugar girl, she booked vacations, hotels, getaway, wine trips.
I was just
love
gonna
that.
ask that.
Spa treatments and mud baths. I was like, how do you know where all this stuff is? And she did.
I was telling Alejandra, I had this girl I was dating, I met on the site, and she actually does photography and menus and things for restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a huge foodie, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we would get together, she's like, hey, I want to try this restaurant. I'll get us reservations at this time, blah, blah. Is that good for you? I'm like, perfect. Like, she would plan the whole date.
I love an executive assistant.
I love that.
I love it
so much.
Yeah. I've even told my new baby, I'm like, you know what? You're going to be doing the booking.
All right, Alejandra, I know you're listening.
Yeah, but you're so good at date planning.
Yeah, but you know how much time and effort that takes?
Oh, it does.
Then I am so busy. I'm working for a living because I have to support my sugar baby.
Right.
Well,
they are
I'm
cheap.
telling you, that's one thing I truly appreciate about my sugar daddy, my podcast fanboy guy.
Mm-hmm.
He has planned this amazing European vacation for us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an itinerary of what we're doing every day. So I can look at that and I'm going to know what to pack, how I'm going to dress. And he's just put a lot of time and effort into this.
I know you appreciate that, but every now and then it's a refreshing change when they make all the plans. They find out what times are available. They make the reservations and they just come to you and go, hey, honey, I got us reservations here on this night. And we're good.
I love it.
Do too.
I love it
so much.
I go back to my favorite in Poland. I'd show up at her place and she'd have some loose robe on, not much more, and breakfast would be made, tea would be on the table, and then I'd be working from her place, and
there you go, boys.
She'd be tea and tiramisu, and then in between meetings we'd have sex, rinse and repeat. This just went on and on and on. I was like, what's there to not like about this?
Yeah, right.
And
it's a lot different than married life.
Well, I remember on my birthday, my wife throwing a spoon at my face. And that same day, this is the one who's, opens up the door and nothing but purple velvet high heels and says happy birthday with a cupcake.
Yeah. So why did it not work out with your wife? How long did you know her before you got married?
I knew her about a year, and she moved from Poland to be with me. And really, it didn't work out because, frankly, neither one of us was mature enough at the time.
Okay.
She had
So
never...
you got married in your 30s.
Yes, I think I was 30 at the time. Yeah, that sounds about right. And she had never really been out of her little village. I taught her to drive. I taught her to pay bills. I taught her to write checks. I taught her to navigate the adult world. Next thing you know, we get a fiancé visa and she moves in, and she spent the first 6 months over in the corner crying. She missed her family. She missed home and everything else.
That's tough.
Honestly, in retrospect, I think you and I would both agree that she was suffering from PTSD and really needed therapy, but she refused to do it. And, here I am going, come on, step up, do some stuff, whatever. And it was just nonstop. I mean, and at that point, it's like, you get into this cycle where, you're leaning on her to do her part of the deal and she's just not. And then you just get more and more frustrated, which turns everybody off.
What was the age gap between you and your wife?
7 years.
You have to think that hard.
Well, I had to think about how old I was and how old she was at the time. I met her. She was 22, bronze, tanned, blonde hair, and just gorgeous. And
how'd you meet her?
Her friend was the lifeguard at my swimming pool where I lived at the time. And I was macking on her friend. Her friend was not interested in me. I invited her friend out one night for, drinks and party. And her friend brought my eventual wife as a sort of bring a friend defense.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at these both and I'm like, well, how do I make both of these work? Right.
Oh, God.
Right. Well, it didn't work out that way. The first one, ended up ghosting me, but the second one, my wife, she ended up staying around and, we built something from that. And then she moved back to Poland for a while. We stayed in touch. And then we decided, it's like, look, we either need to shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
And so she came over on a fiancé visa.
Do you feel like you didn't really get enough time to know her deeply before you got married and it just went really quick, it sounds like?
Well, what's interesting? I look at all the evidence in retrospect. It was all there. She didn't change.
Yeah.
My understanding of her changed.
Right.
Right. Like the mess, the moodiness, the this. And I thought, that was just us having a great time that summer. Right. I didn't put two and two together. But then looking back, I was like, no, it was all there.
And you were married how long?
15 years.
And you
15.
You have children?
Yes.
And are they grown?
They're teens.
Oh, okay. Teenagers.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? I read that in your profile.
There you go.
And I love that you disclosed that because there are some women like myself. I would probably date somebody who had older teenagers, but I don't want to date somebody with little kids. And you'd be surprised how many age-appropriate men just really went to fatherhood much later in life. And they do have small children.
It's still possible for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm 55. It's very easy for me to start a family now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And a lot of the women I'm dating, certainly something could happen. Absolutely. The reason I'm clear about these things on my profile is, like I said, I'm okay with people self-selecting out. Mm-hmm. Right. It's not something you want to spring on someone. My kids are a part of my life. Yeah. I can't remove them from my life, and I wouldn't. And so, at some point, you're either going to meet them. And usually I kind of phase into that, where my babies meet my kids at some point, because then it opens up more available time. But even if they don't, my availability with my babies is dependent upon, when I have my kids and when I don't. So no way getting around it. My kids are a part of my life. And why not disclose that right up front?
What do they think of your lifestyle?
They don't know about it.
Okay, that's why I was wondering.
Well, okay. How do I put this?
They're not stupid.
No, my son is kind of clueless. My daughter, though.
You've got a 26-year-old girlfriend.
One of them was as young as 22. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my daughter, she has kind of thrown it out there tongue in cheek a couple times, and I steered her away from it. My son's completely clueless. He doesn't
really?
He isn't paying
How
attention.
old is he?
15. He has zero interest in girls.
Well, that'll change.
I'm sure it will, but it hasn't. So
he's
he's just not paying attention. My daughter, though, she's really, I don't know if she knows or if she just like kind of goes, oh, ha ha ha, my dad's age gap dating and, you know, he's a sugar daddy or whatever. But her and her friends are like, Dad, you always have these hotties for girlfriends.
Yeah.
Wow. So
how does
true.
it make you feel to go out in public with a 22-year-old girl? Do you have a problem with it?
No.
I don't either.
None whatsoever. Zero. I
love it.
I was in a relationship with two girls at one point, and we went and met a good friend of mine down in Santa Monica for a weekend. And I mean, I blew his mind when I showed up with the two of them. And, you know, one was 23, one was 22, draped off of my arms, and blonde hair was one, brunette was the other.
Sounds like Dr. Charles, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. Dr. Charles reincarnated.
And I loved it. I mean, we had such a great time. I even have a souvenir from it. It was.
Which is what?
You have a tattoo.
I do.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Only the three of us know what those tattoos mean. You know, to anyone else, it means nothing, but to me, it means something.
All
So
three of you got tatted up on this?
we did.
Whoa.
Did. Yes, we did.
Do you regret it or you like it?
I don't regret it. It's not like I jump up and down when I look at it. I'm like, oh my God. But I know what it means.
Yeah.
It means something to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I was with two, and that was great.
For
And
how long?
probably 5-6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Do you have any other tattoos?
I do not.
That's the only one.
That is the only one. And they,
oh my God.
That's wild.
They goaded
is
me
wild.
into it. They're like, you're not going to do it, are you? You're not going to do it. I was like, "Arr, challenging my pride.
Right?
There you go.
I don't have any yet. But
Peer pressure.
I don't know if that would motivate me enough.
I don't know. I'd been hemming and hawing for years anyways. I was
Yeah.
like, fuck it, whatever.
Right. So you don't care what people think of you then when you're out.
Absolutely not. Not only do I not care, I embrace it.
You embrace it.
I absolutely embrace it. I mean, you know, I'm a VIP at one of the steak restaurants in town, and, you know, I have no problem with showing up with my 26-year-old date in a slinky black dress, my 22-year-old, whatever.
Yeah.
I have no problem whatsoever. I show up with a different date every week, same place.
So
The
Lily,
hostess is just looking at me like, oh.
yeah, Lily was doing a lot of meet and greets at a certain place near our house because she lives in one of my rentals, and I live close by. But they got to seeing her meet all these different guys there.
Oh, yeah. Well, even better, there's a little girl that monitors the checkouts at Walmart.
Oh,
The one close by where we live.
Yeah.
And I was in there buying, I think it was like a bottle of wine with one of my guys. And then I was in there a couple nights later with a different guy, and we were buying tequila. And she's like, oh, I see you guys in here all the time. And it was a different guy.
Yeah.
I'm dreading that moment in
Yeah.
my life. Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah. I'm in here regularly.
Well, I took Alejandra to my country club. We had this golf tournament. We had this wrap-up awards dinner. And one of the guys at my table goes, oh, yeah, I met you. Remember the other day? You know, I met you the other time you were here.
At Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a
I'm
whole
sorry.
different sugar baby.
I'm sorry. You got to bleep that name out.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a completely different one. But the nice thing is that our relationship is very open.
Mm-hmm.
So it came as no surprise to her because I already told her about it.
Yeah.
So there was no embarrassment, and we actually laughed about it, and we looked at him and were like, oh, no, that was his other girl.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully embrace it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because what are you supposed to do? Have these awkward conversations or be weird or like, what do you... Now, to those who don't know in the lifestyle, you know, they're just my girlfriend. That's how I present them.
Right.
And that's the most socially accepted way. But there are a few people in my life who know, and they see me with some young hottie. They already know.
Now, how do you answer this question? Hey, so how did you guys meet?
Online,
Yeah.
like everyone else.
Yeah.
What website did you meet on?
Yeah. What?
Pick one. Bumble. Oh, sorry.
Whatever.
Wrong crew. Bleep that.
Yeah.
Now here's
I don't know what that is.
That's the...
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're on.
No.
No, that's why he was saying bleep that.
So here's an interesting story though. One of the girls I was with briefly, she was a little too weird to stay with, but she and I, and this is really, you know, I'm reminded over and over again while I'm in sugar. So I was on Hinge, and, you know, I'm looking through Hinge and swiping through Hinge, and I get no traction, Hinge or Bumble. You know, I get like
it's terrible.
hi,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And I'm
goes
like,
nowhere.
Jesus Christ, what
Same
a waste.
here.
Yeah. So, and you know, the problem with these dating apps is it comes down to basically a case of hot or not. And if I'm not, I recognize I'm not the 25-year-old star quarterback, but that's not what I bring to the table.
He's attractive on Hinge or Bumble, wouldn't he be?
Yeah,
You would swipe right.
I would
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I'm sure they do or whatever, but then they never follow up. So this one girl, I meet her on Hinge. We chat. Miracle of miracles. I get her number. I message her and send her a text. Hi. Nothing. Gone. I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, par for the course. Fast forward. I meet her on Seeking. I didn't realize it at the time. Met her on Seeking. I get her number. She sends me her number and poof, here pops up the history. I was like, wait a minute, we checked what? Wait. And she's like, oh,
yeah,
that's happened to me too.
We met on Hinge. Oh my God. And I was like, yeah, and you wouldn't give me the time of fucking day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
now you know I have a little cash in hand.
Yeah, and
it's
now
a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have one that I recently discovered. I initially met this guy on Seeking, and it didn't go anywhere. He was just super busy. We never could make a connection. The redheaded guy. Remember I was telling you about him? The ginger. Well, then he hit me up on Secret Benefits, and we started chatting again and got to the point of exchanging numbers, and same thing. I plug in his number in my phone and our whole old conversation comes right back up. I was like, we've talked before. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. I've tried Secret Benefits. It's
not.
And what's your price?
Yeah.
I haven't tried that one.
Listen, Seeking is kind of, from a tech standpoint, is kind of a shit show, but it's the only game in town.
I know.
Really.
That's why we need to develop a new one, because they're changing. I've witnessed.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, off mic, I'll talk about a business opportunity with you. I've literally been thinking about this for a long time.
And you're a tech guy.
So I think if it's okay for me to pivot the subject just a little bit.
Well, I want to, so you pulled up the history and you guys had chatted before.
Oh, yeah. And we struck it up. We met. We finally came to an arrangement, and it didn't last long because she was really weird, and she always had these really fucking weak sauce reasons why she couldn't get together.
I hate
and
that
somebody stole my catalytic converter and my muffler fell off. And
it's always something.
Oh, she disappeared to the bathroom for half an hour with her cell phone in the middle of the night. I was like, what the fuck? I told her straight up. I was like, that's super duper sus.
Yeah.
She's like, oh yeah, no. Or it's just weird. Everything about her was weird. It was all very weird. In fact, my spidey senses would tell me she was running a side game, and I was just like, whatever. I'm not into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had something go for a while, and she was fun and whatever, but I need someone who's not fucking around.
What's been your longest sugar arrangement?
16 months. Yeah, a little bit over a year. Mm-hmm.
And then, so was there a monthly allowance, or?
I've usually been a monthly allowance guy, and that's always left me kind of, I don't know. I go back and forth. Yeah. I like monthly allowance because it allows everyone to, get comfortable with the expectations. But then sometimes what I find is, especially if the woman negotiates a really good deal for herself, the expectations get high.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, I'm this top notch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, top pay for top performance. And, they don't live up to it. I mean, one of my previous sugar girls, she knew that I didn't have my kids a week at a time. And, she decided to pick some social justice warrior fight with me in a restaurant over me not tipping 25%. And I was
gosh.
I was like, we're talking $4 here. You know that, right? So she getting a big kerfuffle with me about that. And then she spent the next 9 days not seeing me, not because she didn't have time, but because she was doing self-care.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, this ain't going to work.
That's a lot of self-care.
Yeah.
Yeah, that monthly thing is hard. I've done that for one girl, and the first month was great. And then the second month, I paid her the entire month. And then a week into it, she's like, hey, I hate to do this, but I met someone and I want to see how it goes. And
yeah, good luck with a refund.
What refund?
Exactly.
Okay, what do you do? Weekly?
Yeah, I just do weekly.
I do weekly now because for me, that's kind of like the nice balance.
Yeah.
PPM is just not my style. I mean,
I actually prefer PPM.
I don't.
There's no pressure.
It feels awkward.
You know what?
I don't like it.
He's right though. If she's busy or she's not feeling her, you're not feeling her, you're not busy.
Yeah, that's true.
If I'm paying my girl I'm like, yo, you need to step up.
I know, right?
And-
There's
and-
expectations.
And if she's getting paid, maybe she's feeling like, fuck, I really don't want to this week, or I'm
Yeah.
tired or whatever. And she
Yeah.
feels like she's got to step up. And frankly, it puts a lot of tension in the relationship.
It does. It really does. But when PPM, they're calling me going, hey, can I see you? Because it's the first of the month.
Yeah.
And now they're wanting to see you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that keeps everyone motivated. Plus,
There's good and bad for both.
yeah.
I do like my allowance structure with Alejandra because we can go out once a week or we can go out 5 times a week. And I just Venmo or Zelle her the money
Yep.
every week.
Yep.
And we don't even talk about it. We don't even discuss it.
See, I like
which
that
is really
so
nice.
much better.
Well, who doesn't like a consistent payday? But
Yeah.
I auto Zelle my girls. I just set it up. It's auto pay.
Yeah.
I don't think twice about it, etc. But, one of the things that I've noticed, there are some women who want to get the money up front
Mm-hmm.
and some women who are okay getting, starting off and then like a typical job, get paid at the end of your week or whatever when you've done the work. And this is the real problem with this kind of lifestyle. There is an inherent trust gap.
Yeah, absolutely.
She doesn't want to get screwed physically. He doesn't want to get screwed financially.
Yeah.
And there's this trust gap. And I think that's the biggest thing that could be solved in this lifestyle.
And how do you solve it?
Well, that's what we talk about off mic.
So what do you think your budget is per week on dating?
I'll give you this off record, mostly because if anyone back in my hometown hears my numbers, I don't want to tip my hand. One of my girls was getting a month plus
Okay.
a car, gas, whatever. And I took care of all her miscellaneous, whatever she needed. My most expensive was getting $1,000 a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Or a week, a month. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like,
No,
that's a big disparity.
no.
I was getting that at one point for a little bit of time.
A month? Yeah.
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 From
I've
my
Yeah.
ER doc.
$1,000 a month, but I had that problem. Top pay for top performance.
Right,
and that
right.
was the one that was feeding me bullshit all the time.
Mhm.
Right. And I was just like, no, you need to step the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, as we're kind of running out of time, tell me some of the worst dates you've ever been on. If you've been out with over 100 women.
Well, hell, just a couple weeks ago, I went to a date and she's like, oh, yeah, okay. I can't wait to meet you. Ghosted, disappeared entirely. I've had women show up in ripped t-shirts, muddy shoes. I mean, just look, I've had actual drug addicts show up.
Oh, yeah. That happens a lot because it's a financial source for them.
Mm-hmm.
And where are they going to get money?
Yeah, thankfully, I've never had an embarrassing moment where just like, they, I don't know, screamed, went off, whatever, just made a scene. Thankfully, that's never happened. Bad to me is just, where the women don't treat it serious. They don't treat it like, you need to put on your game face. When I go to a meet and greet, I look good. Sometimes I show up to a meet and greet in a sport coat with a snappy shirt and looking good. Depends on how I feel the vibe of the woman. Sometimes I'm in, like a casual button up like this, looking good. Whatever it is, I make sure I look the part, right? And when I come on these dates and these women don't look the part, I'm just like, this is not a handout, right? There are expectations here. I'm not your boyfriend, right? Step up. I want to have a great relationship. I want to have that close relationship. But at the same time, I'm in this because I have certain needs I want met. And one of them is I like a woman who's well put together, right? My new Filipina, I mean, this girl is manicured. Her hair looks exactly like yours, Lily.
Oh, really?
Exactly.
Lily's got
Wavy.
beautiful hair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Lily, you are beautiful.
What
baby.
do you think
Aw,
of? What do you
thank
think
you
of
so
Lily in
much.
person versus her podcast voice?
Oh, she's twice as sexy in person.
Isn't she though?
Oh,
Absolutely.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a reason why she's in high demand.
you know what? I'd like it when my women come put together, I want them to look beautiful. I want to walk into a room and every guy in the fucking room is jealous.
Isn't that the best feeling? And I always say the ultimate man's accessory is a gorgeous woman on his arm,
Amen.
right?
Amen.
Obviously, there's more factors to it than that. But when you walk into a room, everybody's head turned and they're like, what does that guy have?
Mm-hmm.
What makes that guy better than everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell this story a lot, but I haven't told it in a while. I was at a Christmas party. It was a drunk fest. It was just a casual, fun Christmas party at my country club. And one of our buddies, who I play golf with a lot, walks in with this gorgeous, sexy woman. And we're looking at this guy going, how the hell did this happen? I'm telling you, not
Just slip him a
only
business
did
card.
not only did he get attention from the men who were like checking out his girl, but the women, where all of a sudden the women became much more attracted to this guy because they saw the quality of girl that he had brought to the party with him. And his status went up immediately and it stayed there. Like he ended up, he said that she was crazy. We always ask like, what happened to that girl? He's like, oh, she was crazy. I couldn't date her. But his status is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't drop.
Yeah. I know exactly how it is. And I remember I took my 22-year-old baby once over to my neighbor's house. She was in her mid-50s. He's in his mid-50s. We went over charcuterie and wine. The fucking marital pandemonium that caused. Whoo, insecurity. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I didn't mean to, but,
Yeah.
there was all hell broke loose later. And, his.
Because the husband was checking out your baby?
I don't know if he's checking her out or not, but the point was that the wife definitely was and was imagining he was. And I mean, we did go on a boat ride too with her. Yeah, there was something to do with that. But,
Oh, goodness.
but yeah, no, that it can breed some jealousy. But the best part, I walk in and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's the best part.
Well, and women want to say that they don't like to be objectified, but you know what? It really does something for your self-esteem to be noticed and complimented. And what does Kimmy say? The man's one job is to flatter.
It was funny. I can't remember why she was with me, but Kimmy was dressed up to the hilt for some reason. Maybe she was going on a date later, but she was with me. I had to go to Home Depot for something. She goes, yeah, I'll go with you. She literally shut the store down. Like when she walked in, everything came to a halt.
Yeah.
I
Even
mean,
when that girl's just wearing
oh my gosh,
freaking sweatpants and
oh yeah, she
a
came
ripped
over.
t-shirt, she still turns
She
heads.
just moved to LA, but she came over to Lily's house and I was over there to say goodbye. And we had a bunch of construction going on in our neighborhood.
Oh, geez.
It literally came to you witnessed it too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
It came to a
She
halt.
and I were talking in the front yard, and all of a sudden, everyone needed to come over and check the meter right by my driveway.
Yeah.
And they all were like very concerned that meter was reading correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Marcus, the final point for me, the thing I told this to Maria about why I get into this is, look, for me, dating is an anthropological exercise, right? Nobody wants to date a loser. And, women going on dates and being asked to go Dutch, or the guy, Jesus Christ, he doesn't even have a working car, right? So for me, this is anthropological. On, Hinge and Bumble, I can't show that I'm a reliable, generous, supportive man.
I had the same problem.
Right?
Same problem.
And, I don't want to be dating some angry, bitter woman like my ex-wife, for example.
Yeah.
And so for me, this is anthropological. What? This is us putting forward our best foot. And apps like Bumble and Hinge and even Tinder, they don't show what a guy like me has to offer.
So do you feel like you found success through sugar dating?
Absolutely.
All right. What advice would you give to men who are thinking about doing this or not having much success doing this?
Take it serious. Put your best foot forward. The money is a way to open the door. It is not walking through the door, but it is a way to open the door. It's a way that that one I met on Hinge, right? It's a way to open the door, but you still have to be charming. You can't be an asshole.
Exactly.
Right?
I preach that all the time.
I will say this,
It's
though.
our cheat code to open the door, but you still got to do the work.
Yep.
And be a gentleman.
Yeah. And, you go on enough dates, you go on enough meet and greets, you have enough wine. After a while, you get to be charming. I mean, it's anything you do enough of, you will get good at.
Yeah. Practice makes perfect, as they say, and you become more comfortable.
Yeah. From the negotiating standpoint for both of them, come up with a number you're comfortable with, whatever that number is, and stick to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't maintain it because it's too much, or, it won't stay maintained because you're lowballing her, then don't do it. Come up with a number you're comfortable with, stick to it, stick to your guns. There's somebody out there for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's all levels of women on there, different, unique needs and wants.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of got to find what fits into your lifestyle and what you're wanting and needing.
Yeah. My best advice to guys is it opens the door, but you still got to do the work.
Right. Yeah.
So one more thing, though, and this is just my advice to guys out there. find out what your sugar baby's goals are financially, because we all have financial goals, and mine is very specific. I'm trying to pay off a large bill. And I've got one sugar daddy who ordered and have delivered to my home a $450 dress. Okay, that's very kind. That's very sweet. That's very thoughtful. I would love to have that money toward my bill.
Yeah, give me the gift receipt.
I don't really need another dress.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't need a $450 dress. I'm not that high maintenance and I'm not that sophisticated. I think I got to have
recently,
expensive clothing.
one gentleman gave Lily, as her allowance, a gift card to Nordstrom.
No, it wasn't an allowance. It was you showed up to the date. He paid me for a meet and greet, basically.
Yeah, okay. Same thing.
Well, no, it wasn't, because he did not know.
I sense a fight brewing.
Well, no, he didn't know.
It's a terminology
Let's put it this way.
difference.
He invited me to dinner. There was no discussion of if there was going to be anything more than just dinner. And at the very beginning of the night, when I showed up for the date, he gifted me a gift card to Nordstrom's.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the amount, but I looked it up today. And it was $250, which I think is very generous for a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Because most men do not pay for a meet and greet, and I don't ask. Some just do, and I love that. That impresses me more than anything. If a gentleman just values your time and the fact that you showed up and your company that much, that's just very flattering. And that's the kind of person you want to spend more time with.
The reason I bring that up is the problem is you would have rather had cash to go to your bill that you're trying to pay.
Yeah, I didn't.
So Marcus, being the generous guy he is,
I don't need more clothes. I didn't need anything from Nordstrom's. But Marcus is like, well, here, I'll give you the cash and I'll use the Nordstrom's card. So it worked out nicely.
You know, the nicest thing I ever did for one of my sugar babies, I remember she, I was with her and she was always squinting. And I was like, she has contacts. I was like, I bet you she needs a new prescription. I took her to the eyeglass place. I got her, saw an optometrist, bought her new glasses. I took care of her, treated her well.
That's awesome. I love that. I had a guy, I didn't even know my car needed new tires. And he took it in to get checked and put all new tires on my car. That was so wonderful.
I've done that.
That's the kind of gift that really is appreciated.
All right. Well, I'd love to talk further, but we are out of time.
All right. Thank you guys for the chat. It has been awesome meeting you. And
Christian, you came all the way down in person. Are you leaving today?
I am. I need to be back tomorrow, and the latest flight, I took the latest flight out. I think I could get tonight.
Okay.
If you're offering drinks, I set aside time for that.
There we go.
Well, we'll have to see. Lily, always a pleasure.
Always.
You I always look forward to hearing your stories and your dates.
I can't wait to tell about my library meet and greet next time.
Yeah, and I want to hear about the drunken Shakespeare.
You got to show up with big, nerdy glasses so you look the naughty librarian.
Well, I could pull that off, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'd love to hear your crazy sugar dating stories, questions, or comments at our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com. And please follow us on Instagram at the same name. And don't forget to leave us 5-star reviews on wherever you're hearing this podcast. We really would like the 5-star ratings. And then also go to our website. We got some links down at the bottom. OMG, yes. One of my favorite links, because that's a program that will teach you how to pleasure a woman properly. Right, Lily?
Yes, sir. We like to be pleasured.
Yes, properly.
Properly.
There you go. All right. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.